In a city where home businesses have to fight to survive, one place has opened their doors to them.
If you build it, he will come.
They built the solution. Professional working offices, private conference rooms, color copier services, and so much more. This summer, don't miss the Lake Havasu City Home-Based Business Association. 928-453-1188. www.lhchbba.org.
I want you to do me a favor.
Oh boy.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Assuming you aren't currently behind the wheel of a car, I want you to close your eyes for a second.
Okay, assuming I'm on my couch.
Right. Transport yourself back in time. We were going back to a very specific, slightly painful era in recent human history.
Which era are we talking about here?
The late 2000s.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is a time.
Right. The global financial system is basically in a precarious state. Smartphones are barely a novelty for the wealthy, and most importantly, for our purposes today, you are sitting on your couch, you're starving, and you want to order food.
A very relatable scenario.
Exactly. Today, in our current reality, you just, pull a glowing rectangle out of your pocket.
Right. Tap the glass screen 3 times.
Yeah, and a warm burrito magically appears on your doorstep 30 minutes later. The logistics are completely invisible to you.
It's seamless.
But back then, you had a physical obstacle to overcome first.
Oh, I know where this is going. You had to contend with the dreaded, chaotic entity known as the menu drawer.
The menu drawer. Yes.
I mean, almost everyone had one. It was usually the drawer right under the landline phone in the kitchen.
That is exactly where mine was. Just a greasy, disorganized pile of tri-folded paper.
Right. And half of those menus were from places that went out of business like 3 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Or the other half had their prices aggressively crossed out with a blue ballpoint pen.
Yes. With the new higher prices scribbled in the margins, it was chaos.
It really was. And if you didn't happen to have a physical menu for the specific place you wanted, you had 2 terrible options.
Go on.
You either called them and forced some poor, overworked teenager to read the entire list of appetizers to you over a static-filled phone line.
Which was the worst.
Or you just gave up and drove there in person to look at a piece of cardboard taped to a window. There was virtually zero digital infrastructure for local food.
And it's wild to think about now, right? It was an era defined by profound friction.
We take local digital discovery completely for granted today. We expect our immediate physical surroundings to be perfectly mapped, indexed, searchable. Totally. But before the Silicon Valley giants swooped in and digitally mapped every local economy on Earth, the internet was actually quite sparse when it came to your neighborhood.
It was a global network, sure, but it struggled immensely to be hyper-local.
Yeah, like you could look up the population of a country on the other side of the world in seconds.
But finding out if the Italian place down the street sold garlic knots, nearly impossible.
That friction is exactly where we are starting today. We are looking at a system built a full 7 years before DoorDash became a household name.
7 years. That's a lifetime in tech.
It really is. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't built in a shiny Palo Alto incubator by Stanford computer science grads armed with millions in venture capital.
No, it was built in the desert.
Lake Havasu City, Arizona, to be exact. A town of roughly 50,000 people.
Okay, so a relatively small market.
Yeah. And today, for our deep dive into these sources, we are unpacking a massive stack of primary source documents. We've got business contracts, raw GoDaddy web analytics, local newsletters, and even a background check.
Wow, so we are really getting into the weeds on this one.
Oh, we are tracing the footprint of an entrepreneur named Sean Rouse. This is a guy who essentially tried to build the modern gig and aggregator economy by hand.
By hand, I love.
He created a platform called Havamenu. And we need to get the pronunciation right off the bat. It's pronounced Havamenu.
Havamenu, okay, got it.
Yeah, as in his incredibly direct, catchy slogan, "What are you hungry for? Have a menu."
Ah, I see. It's a highly effective play on the name of the town, Havasu. Have a menu.
Exactly. It's clever.
And what's truly fascinating as we comb through these source documents is that we aren't just looking at a quaint, localized small business.
No, not at all.
We are looking at a hyper-local precursor to the massive digital ecosystems that define modern commerce today.
We really are. We are going to reconstruct how this single entrepreneur managed to foresee and practically execute the exact digital aggregation models that would eventually make tech founders billionaires.
But he didn't do it with endless server farms and algorithms. He did it with pure analog to digital hustle on a literal main street.
The sheer operational hustle required to pull this off in 2008 is what really anchors the story for me.
Yeah, because before you can sell advertising, and certainly before you can build a reliable user base, you actually need the product itself.
You need the menus.
Right. If you build a beautiful website called Havamenu, and it only features 3 restaurants, nobody in Lake Havasu is going back to it a second time.
The utility is zero at that point.
Exactly. So the primary question we have to answer first is, how did Sean Rouse get local, old-school restaurant owners in an Arizona desert town to play along with a digital database in 2008?
Right, because these are people who were probably still using carbon copy receipt paper at the time.
They absolutely were. Well, he employed a strategy that economists and tech analysts now refer to as supply-side aggregation.
Okay, supply-side aggregation.
Yeah, and he executed it by offering an absolute, no-strings-attached, zero-friction proposition to the business owners.
I saw that in the sources. In his introductory letter to restaurant owners and general managers, he lays out his core philosophy in one single definitive sentence.
I know the one.
He writes, "If Havamenu.com has all the menus, there is no reason for anyone to go anywhere else."
That is the ultimate monopoly mindset, just hiding in plain sight.
It really is. It's the exact same thesis Google used for organizing the world's information, just applied locally to chimichangas and pizza in Lake Havasu.
Right. But identifying the goal is one thing. The execution is what sets this apart.
Because he didn't just email these general managers a link and say, "Hey, please create an account and upload a PDF of your menu."
You knew they wouldn't do it.
Of course not. They didn't have the time. They often didn't have the technical literacy. And honestly, many probably didn't even have a digital file of their menu to begin with.
So he physically offered to go to their restaurants, take digital pictures of their marquee menus, and manually type them up into the website's database.
Entirely for free.
Completely for free. The letter explicitly states 100% free. No catch, no obligation, no nothing.
To understand the mechanics of why this was necessary, we really have to look at the cold start problem inherent in any multi-sided marketplace.
Okay, break that down for us.
So a multi-sided marketplace like an Uber, an Airbnb, or a food aggregator requires both buyers and sellers to find value.
Right, the classic chicken and egg problem.
Exactly. You can't attract the buyers if there are no sellers, and the sellers won't waste their time joining a platform that has no buyers.
And the traditional way to solve this is to spend massive amounts of venture capital subsidizing one side of the market.
But Rouse didn't have massive amounts of money. His solution was pure sweat equity.
He removed every conceivable barrier to entry for the supply side of the restaurants.
They didn't have to spend a dime. They didn't have to learn a new software interface. They didn't have to sign a release.
He absorbed all the friction. He became the labor force.
It perfectly mirrors the early days of Google Street View, but on a hyper-local, analog scale.
That is a great analogy.
Think about it. When Google decided they wanted to map the visual reality of the world, they couldn't crowdsource it.
No, they couldn't just politely ask people to walk outside and take photos of their own houses and email them in. The data simply didn't exist in a unified format.
They literally had to engineer fleets of cars with 360-degree cameras and manually drive down every single public road on the planet.
Which is insane when you think about it.
Right. Sean Rouse was the human equivalent of a Google Street View car in Lake Havasu City.
But instead of mapping streets, he was mapping appetizers and happy hour special.
And he was doing it all by himself, on foot, likely in 100-degree Arizona heat.
That is some serious dedication.
But I have to push back on the underlying business logic here. From an economic standpoint, is it actually a smart move to do all of this highly tedious data entry completely for free?
It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah. Isn't he setting a dangerous precedent and devaluing his own time and his platform from day one? I mean, if I own a diner and this guy just spent 3 hours digitizing my menu for free, why on earth would I ever write him a check later?
Well, it is a highly counterintuitive approach if you view it through the lens of a traditional service business.
Right.
If you are a consultant, you never give your core service away for free. But Rouse wasn't building a service business, he was building a network effect.
Okay, explain the difference there.
The value of Havamenu wasn't the digitization of one individual diner's menu. The value was the totality of the aggregation.
Ah, I see.
By doing the work for free, he essentially cornered the market on local dining data. He built a data monopoly.
Because once the platform has, say, 90% of the restaurants in town listed, it hits a tipping point.
Precisely. Once he aggregated all the menus, his site transitioned from being a neat local project to an indispensable civic utility for the 50,000 residents of that town.
You want to know what's for dinner or who delivers after 9 p.m. You don't go to the menu drawer anymore. You go to a menu.
And this is the critical pivot. Once you own the attention of the entire consumer base of a town, then you have a highly valuable product to sell back to the restaurants.
Well, he wasn't devaluing his time at all.
Not at all. He was strategically investing his time to build a walled garden of consumer attention. The free data entry was just the customer acquisition cost for building the audience.
That reframes the entire effort. He was constructing the digital real estate, paving the roads, and building the storefronts before he ever tried to charge rent.
It's a brilliant infrastructure play.
So, assuming this works and the documents show it did tech, how does he transition from a free community service to a revenue-generating machine?
Because sweat equity and goodwill don't pay server costs.
Exactly. When we look at how he monetized this aggregated hunger, we find a document in his sales materials titled Target Marketing versus Mass Marketing.
Oh, that document is a brutal systematic takedown of how local advertising worked at the time.
It really is. It's a remarkable piece of economic philosophy tailored for Main Street.
You have to contextualize what advertising meant for a small-town restaurant owner in 2008.
Your options were entirely predicated on mass marketing, right?
Pretty much. You could buy an ad in the local newspaper, you could buy a 30-second spot on local radio, or you could pay for direct mailers.
Ugh, those massive plastic-wrapped bundles of coupons that get shoved into your physical mailbox every Tuesday.
Exactly. And Sean's pitch systematically tears down the inefficiency of that model.
He attacks the timing of it, specifically. He points out a glaring flaw in the direct mail model. A consumer views a direct mailer at the exact moment it arrives in their hand, usually when they are sorting their mail standing in their foyer.
Right, but they are rarely actively hungry or making a dining decision at that exact second.
He claims in the source that 50% of the people who might actually be interested in a restaurant's offer will simply forget about the ad by the time Friday night rolls around and they are actually ready to eat.
It is the inherent flaw of the spray and pray approach to marketing.
Yeah, you print 10,000 glossy flyers and pay the postal service to deliver them, purely hoping that a fraction of a percent of the recipients happen to be craving a cheeseburger at the exact moment they see your logo.
But waste in that system, both in capital and physical paper, is astronomical.
So he contrasts this massive inefficiency with his concept of target marketing.
His pitch is that Havamenu gets your message out to a much smaller but hyper-specific group of people who have an incredibly high percentage of converting into paying customers.
And the reason, as he writes in the document, hundreds of people visit Havamenu every day. They visit every time they're hungry or when they are trying to plan a weekend.
He isn't selling broad exposure. He is selling intent.
Intent. That really is the magic word that built the modern internet, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It is the fundamental difference between driving down the highway and seeing a billboard for a local plumber versus standing in a flooded bathroom and actively typing "emergency plumber near me" into a search bar.
The billboard is passive exposure, the search bar is active intent.
And Sean was selling the local food equivalent of search engine intent.
If a user is on Havamenu, they aren't just browsing the internet aimlessly. They are guaranteed to be hungry right now, with a wallet in their hand, looking for a place to spend money.
And owning that high-intent traffic allows you to create highly structured, highly profitable pricing tiers.
Let's talk about those tiers, because we actually have the contracts in our source materials.
Yeah, he didn't just offer a single flat-rate advertising option. He built an incredibly sophisticated menu of advertising tiers, pun intended, that catered to every level of local business.
From the struggling mom-and-pop shop to the most successful steakhouse in town.
The pricing structure is fascinating because it shows a deep understanding of local business cash flow.
The base postings were designed to be an absolute no-brainer. They ranged from $30 to $120.
For just $10 a month or $120 a year, a restaurant gets a full-color menu posted online.
Which, if you own a small diner with thin margins, $30 or even $120 for the year is barely a rounding error.
It removes all financial friction from getting on the platform.
But then he scales it up significantly. He introduces standard ads for what he calls a featured restaurant, priced at $300 a month.
And for that $300, you get a picture of the front of your restaurant, a written description, a dedicated web page with a color menu, a map, and up to 4 coupons.
The inclusion of the coupons is a very deliberate mechanism, isn't it?
It's brilliant. In local advertising, attribution is incredibly difficult. If you run a radio ad, how do you know if it actually brought people in?
You usually don't. You just hope the register rings.
Exactly. But by offering 4 printable coupons on the $300 tier, Rouse is giving the restaurant owners a physical tracking mechanism.
When someone walks in and hands the cashier a Havamenu coupon, the owner has immediate, tangible proof that their $300 investment is generating a return.
But what's even more crucial to understand about these contracts is how he weaponizes incentives to secure long-term commitments.
Because in local advertising, churn is a fatal problem.
Right. Businesses trying an ad for a month and then canceling. It requires constant, exhausting sales efforts just to maintain revenue.
And Sean combated this churn with premium upsells for term contracts.
And the upsells are aggressive.
Looking at the sales contract, a featured restaurant could go up to $600 a month for premium placement.
Or $200 a month for a coupon listing.
Right. But if they signed a long-term deal, the bonuses they unlock were staggering for the time.
If a restaurant committed and paid for 3 months up front, the contract states Havamenu would send an email blast of their coupons to 4,000 Lake Havasu email addresses.
Okay, I really want to drill down into this specific number. 4,000 local email addresses.
It's a huge number.
In a town with a total population of 50,000 people. If we assume an average household size of maybe 2 or 3 people, that means this one guy had a verified local email list reaching almost 20 to 30% of the households in the entire city.
It's essentially a superpower.
How valuable was an asset like that in 2008 compared to the kind of algorithmic social media targeting we rely on today?
In 2008, a hyper-local, verified email list of that size was absolute gold. It was a completely unrivaled asset.
Because today, if a local business wants to reach 4,000 people in their zip code, they log into a social media ad manager, set a 5-mile radius, and pay a massive tech company for the privilege of temporarily placing an ad in a feed.
But the business doesn't own that relationship. They're just renting access to an audience through an algorithm that could change tomorrow.
An email list, however, is an owned asset.
Exactly. Having direct, unfiltered access to the inboxes of thousands of local residents gave Sean an incredible amount of leverage.
He bypassed the local newspaper, he bypassed the postal service, and he bypassed the radio stations.
It was direct-to-consumer digital marketing in an era where most local businesses were just figuring out how to set up a basic web page.
And he used that list as the ultimate carrot to lock restaurants into multi-month contracts, guaranteeing his own cash flow.
And if the email list was the carrot for a 3-month contract, the carrot for a 6 or 12-month contract is just wild.
Oh, yeah. The contract explicitly states that for long-term signups, he will produce a video commercial to be played on Havamenu.com and HavasuVideoNews.com.
A custom video commercial for a local sub shop or a pizza joint in 2008.
We really have to remember the context of the technology at the time. YouTube was barely 3 years old.
The iPhone had just come out and didn't even shoot video yet.
Producing digital video, editing it, compressing it, and hosting it online was not cheap, and it certainly wasn't easy.
He is acting as a media buyer, an ad agency, a digital distributor, and a full-scale video production house, all simultaneously.
It speaks to the absolute sheer will and immense operational bandwidth required to build a localized digital ecosystem from the ground up before the tools existed to make it easy.
He recognized that he couldn't just provide a blank platform and expect local businesses to know how to use it.
He had to provide the education on why digital mattered.
Right. He had to handle the production of the assets, and he had to own the distribution channel. He had to be a full-stack marketing partner, absorbing all the technical complexity on behalf of his clients.
The ambition is undeniable, and the sales pitch is phenomenal. It's logical, it's aggressive, and it deeply understands the pain points of local businesses.
But as we know, any startup founder with a bit of charisma can write a great pitch deck and draft an ambitious contract.
This is Sean
and Christine
from the Lake Havasu City
Home-Based Business Association wishing you a Merry Christmas.